Okay, we're going to be going live, preparing to live stream the meeting. Setting up your meeting for YouTube. Redirecting to YouTube. All right. Wow. How about that? So, oh, cool. And Elizabeth Reese is here. Hey, namaste. Welcome. Glad you can make it. Hey, Tiara. Boy, you guys found me quickly. On YouTube, is there any lag? How are we doing on lag? Awesome. Live. How about that? On a Zoom. Okay, Sean, thank you for joining me. I hope we get more people on the live part of it. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I have to go over here. Bear with me, everyone, on YouTube. I have, if you want to join me and actually be on the screen with me, I can do that. And I'm going to post the link here in the YouTube chat. So if you want to join me on Zoom, you'll have to probably mute. You probably have to mute the YouTube. But here it is. So you can join me on Zoom. Now, there's going to be a little lag going on too. We're probably 20 seconds ahead of time. We're in the future on Zoom. So you guys are like 20 seconds in the past here on YouTube. So if you're going to join me on Zoom, I can actually bring you in and as a guest, and we can chat. And I encourage people to do that. Hi to everyone that's joining right now. Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across the planet around the world. I'm Greg Prescott from In5D.com. And we have people coming in right now. Elizabeth, Tiara, Kathy, Donald, Scott, DK, Kathy, Tiffany, Donald, Skylar, Amber, Denise, Lynn. Lynn says, love the t-shirts. Yeah, this is the one that I did. I got these colors from my daughter. She was down here last week and we made some ornaments and stuff, but we also made some tie-dye t-shirts so she could bring home to give as gifts to her mother and her boyfriend and all, and her sister. And this was one of the colors that she came up with, the color mixture. It's basically just burgundy and this yellow, but when you mix them together, you get the oranges and the pinks, and it's really an awesome color combination. So I was really happy to make this shirt, and I made a bunch of different sizes in this shirt. So yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? Okay, so in Zoom, we have 3 people here. And we got people coming in on YouTube. This is so cool. I didn't know I was able to live stream both of them. How cool is this? So I got lots of things I do want to talk about. What we're going to be doing as well is covering Ascension symptoms. So I could probably, gosh. All right, you guys got to excuse me for 1 second. I got to turn the AC down. I'm hot. Here we are in Florida and I'm sweating. I know a lot of you are probably, I know that I saw this, there was a snowstorm that was heading in the northeast, got probably 4 to 6 inches of snow in a lot of places. Ah, sunny and sexy. Well, sunny, yes. Great and sunny. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it is a cool shirt. You can find these shirts on in5d.net. I'll throw a link in the chat real quick. Shop. Okay. So yeah, you can go right here and check out the new shirts that I have on in5d.net. Skylar says she's trying to warm up. It's 46 in my part. Oh my gosh. Well, it is December. It's almost winter, a couple days away from winter and the solstice. Keep hearing about 1221. Thoughts? Eddie's asking. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that. This is a big week, according to Megan. And according to many people, it's not just Megan that would concur. Yeah, I agree with that. Elizabeth Reese is saying lots of dizziness lately. Let me know what you guys are feeling in the chats, whether it's here or in Zoom. It's kind of tough to follow both, but I can do it. In Zoom, Stephanie's saying she'd love a more fitted vest type top. What I do have like a V neck top that is fitted for ladies, so check that out. And I'll post that link here in Zoom as well. So I'm seeing dizziness. People are saying dizziness. Stephanie's saying noises in her ears. Would that be high-pitched frequencies, Stephanie? Don't be shy. You can actually join me on. I'll unmute you. Is that high-pitched frequencies that you're hearing, Stephanie? I think so, but also some deep humming sounds of a night. Sounds of a night. Deep humming sounds of a night. What does that mean? Saturn conjuncts Pluto. Maja saying, riding the waves symptoms. Extra rest is best. Yeah, that's huge. I've been taking lots of naps. Plasma wave hitting the shore. Love to you all. Eddie, yes, I do have a PayPal link. It's on, if you're on a laptop, it's on the upper right-hand corner of every page. And if you're on a cell phone, you have to scroll down past the articles and it'd be below that on a cell. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Very high-pitched frequencies. Yes. Several people. Skylar, less stomach now and more head stuff, ears included. Ticking noises in my ears and strange vibration. That's interesting. On Zoom, Sean's saying that she gets constant buzzing and ringing tones in her ears, but more and more that come and go. The last few nights I had dreams where in the dream I've been attacked by a negative entity, been having what seems almost like narcoleptic type naps, like no control to fight them off anymore. Got to go with it. Wow. It's pretty intense, Sean. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My My bad, Sean. Yep. Oops. We're getting on YouTube, we're getting some other ones that are saying increased frequencies, heart palpitations. That's interesting, especially this time of the year with the solstice coming up. Lower back. Yes, I've heard that one too. Indigo moon. Oh, wait. Jeannie is saying that. High pitched in my ears, lower back, naps, insomnia. The last full moon was the cold moon, says DK. Weeding out toxic people, can't tolerate drama either. For me, I've gotten a lot of, you guys know I had that heart attack on Friday the 13th in September, and my blood pressure has been elevated, even though I'm on blood pressure medications. So I just decided to order some holistic stuff instead of the crap that I'm on. And I should be getting that tomorrow. They have me on lisinopril for my blood pressure. So I'm going to wean myself off of that, and I'm going to start taking some holistic supplements instead, and we'll see where that goes. But for me, my blood pressure has been elevated more so than normal because I've been keeping track of it every day since the heart attack. And one thing is the ear sensitivity, hearing things that are like extremely loud. Even when they're not, I know they're not loud, but it seems a lot louder than what they are. Does that make sense? And got some people arriving here in Zoom, and just stick your hand up if you want to chat. If you have something to throw in on Zoom, I'll bring you in. Let me know how you're feeling. So we got Galaxy S9 here, and a phone number beginning with 353 joined us in Zoom. So, okay. So, as I mentioned, if you want to join me on the chat, I can actually bring you in literally through Zoom. And what I'll do is I'll post once again the address. I know you're a bunch of introverts like me, but this will be a good way to help you break out of the introvertedness. Okay. Okay, Eddie's saying lisinopril messed with his kidneys. He had to get off of it. Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of good things about it. But what I am taking is CBD oil. Oops, almost dropped it. That would have sucked. So I put like 4 or 5 drops underneath my tongue and just let it do its own thing. Okay, Stephanie, you gotta start talking. Your microphone is muted and unmuted. You can talk anytime, Steph. You can join in. I see Robin's here. And Alina is on her iPhone. So if anyone wants to talk, jump in. I'm going to unmute everyone right now. We'll see where that goes. So welcome to everyone that joined me here on Zoom. And I can hear Sarah doing something there. I see ya. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good.
Good. Are you feeling any Ascension symptoms yourself?
Not really today. I have in the past, though.
Yeah, such as?
nauseousness, dizzy, ringing in the ears often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Vertigo, that kind
Yeah.
of dizziness where you just gotta brace yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Oh, I think he's talking to me. I didn't realize that. And then I just started a whole conversation. I clicked a button.
No, I'm still trying to feel this thing out. So bear with me.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm trying to figure it out too. My husband just walked in the room wondering who I was talking to, if you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can. Hi. Hello, husband.
Bo.
Hello, Sarah's husband. You're live on In5D chat. Patricia's asking, am I seeing YouTubers? Of course I am. Can't be around people at all. Megan's saying, oh gosh. Are you an introvert, Sarah?
I would say definitely I'm an introvert. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm too empathetic to be around big crowds.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so.
I've written, I don't know how many articles on In5D about introverts. And at the end of the article, I usually put a poll. And I've gotten over probably several thousand people answering the poll. Now, typically in traditional society, I think there's only maybe about 15% between 15 to 20% of the people are introverts in regular society. But on In5D, it's somewhere between 80 and 85%. It's almost the exact opposite. And that speaks volumes, because what that tells me is that spiritual people tend to go within. We're not asking other people for, hey, what do you think? Am I crazy? We're looking in for within for the answers. So it wasn't surprising to find out that most of the people here are introverts. Okay. Equinox is asking, Greg, have you ever looked at what's in the Talmud, or its edict to bring the earth under Noahide law? No, I haven't. And Equinox, if you want to tell us about it, come here on Zoom and you can tell everybody about that. I have no idea what that is. So Sarah, I'm going to put you back on mute right now.
Thanks.
And yeah, and if you have anything you want to say, just throw your hand up and jump right in, okay?
Great, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay. So everyone that's watching this, please bear with me. I'm still getting used to how this works, and got some great things that are going to be coming up too. So I got both chats up in front of me as well. Hey, Propus, glad you can make it. Terry, what is your healthcare worth? You're not going to find it in any plan a company owns. I agree. I don't have insurance either. So what are they going to do? Get blood out of a stone? Libra Unleashed. I've been getting prickles in certain parts of my body, like tingly, prickly kind of things, like pins and needles. That's cool. So anyway, I'm going to get back to, we'll get back to the Ascension symptoms here in a second, okay? But right now, I just want to talk about a few things that are going on. Number one, I'll be having a New Year's Eve chat, little New Year's Eve party right here online. So feel free to join me. I'll be posting that link on my personal and In5D Facebook pages. It begins at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're in London, that'll be 12 o'clock there. It'll be 4 o'clock Pacific, and figure out everything in between. So that's going to be fun. Also, I put it out there to one of my writers, Matthew John. He has an article that'll be coming out tomorrow. He's an astrologer. He's a fantastic astrologer, a wonderful writer. And I'm sure many of you have seen his articles on In5D. I'm seeing if I can get him on a Zoom interview. And what I'd like to do is get all my writers that submit articles to In5D on here, so you can actually meet them personally. You've all read their work. It'd be really cool if you could actually meet them as well. One of the people that I've interviewed when I had In5D radio going back in the day, and that was, gosh, I think 2013, 2012, 2013, something like that. Well, one of my first interviewees was astrologer Jim Delacoli, and he's fantastic. He and I just click. We're like long lost brothers. So Jim will be coming on sometime between, I just spoke with him today. He'll be coming on sometime between Christmas and New Year's. So we'll be doing one of these on that as well. And hopefully I'll be able to simulcast that here on YouTube. Additionally, what I'll be doing is having chats, just chats about subjects like what we're doing tonight. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing it bi-monthly or every week, but it'll be on Wednesday nights. This is what I've decided so far. Tentatively Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock for my Patreon users of those who donate $5.55 or more. We're going to have these chats like this at least twice a month. It could be every week. I don't know if I want to commit to that much because there's so much on my plate the way it is, and my heart might not be able to take that much, but I'd like to do it at least twice a week because this is fun, and it'd be great to bring in other people too and hear your opinions of everything. It's kind of a way that we can all create community and family and place a name and a face and a voice with one another. So I thought that would be really cool. So yeah, that's the stuff I wanted to cover early. Those two things that I'll be interviewing writers, and the interviews will be going on YouTube, and maybe I'll do some on Facebook as well. I'm kind of trying to move away from Facebook as much as I can because I have a feeling both them and YouTube are going to be going down the shitter. And you'll hear more about that in my predictions. So on New Year's Eve, I'll be doing predictions on my New Year's Eve show that I'll be having. And I know Jim Delacoli said he'll pop in as well with some ideas that he has. And I'll be encouraging people to come in if you're psychic or whatever. If you have some feelings about what you think might happen in the future, I encourage you to come on New Year's Eve on Zoom, and I'll bring you in and you can tell everybody about what your predictions are. Okay. So that'll be fun. Okay. So, okay. Let me check out the chats here. Terry's asking, am I able to walk on the beach every day still? Well, I don't live on the beach anymore. I'm not too far away from it. I'm probably only a couple miles away, but I knew this would happen. Once I'm not on the beach, I'm not going to go on the beach as much. And no, I don't do that as much anymore, unfortunately. It's kind of cold today. Today was like low, don't hate me. It was low 60s, which is cold here for Florida. But so yeah, too cold to walk barefooted. Oh, glad you can make it. Aliskar? I can't. Just guessing. I can't pronounce that name very well. What's that in Celsius? 60 would be, I don't know, maybe 10, 15, something like that. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to go to share screen, and we're going to start talking about some of these Ascension symptoms. So let's do that. Bam. Okay. Well, you don't want to see that. How about that? Okay. So this is what we're looking at. This one is from an article called 24 Spiritual Ascension Symptoms. And look at this. This is how Facebook screws me. I know there's been a hell of a lot more. There's been thousands of people that have liked this article throughout the years, and it's showing 19. I reposted it in 2019, but I've had this article out for probably, gosh, if you go back on the Wayback Machine, it's been out since 2009, maybe 2010, and it should have thousands of likes, but they're only showing 19. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm not gonna let that bother me. And there it goes. Spiritual ascension symptoms. Now, let me see if I can get the chat up here. Oh, I know what I can do. I've got my other computer going behind this computer, so I can put the chat on that one on YouTube. My channel. Okay. Yay, there I am. Okay, cool. Okay. Bear with me, folks. There we go. Okay, I got both chats going. I got one chat up there. And hopefully one chat here. There it is. Okay, fine. There we go. All right, we can do it that way. Okay, so the first one, feeling as though you're in a pressure cooker or in intense energy, feeling stress. Who's feeling that one? I sure as hell am. I know my blood pressure has been elevated despite taking blood pressure medication. I take my blood pressure every day. I have a chart here. I can't reach it, but I do take my blood pressure every day, and it's been elevated lately. So definitely a big yes to that. And Tiffany, you're coming in late, and you haven't missed a whole heck of a lot. We're just starting the Ascension symptoms. And she's saying coughing up lots of crap since Thanksgiving, phlegm and all that stuff. More sleep, detoxing. Yeah. So here on Zoom, yuppers from Sean, same from Jean. Sarah saying, I definitely like that article and read it many times. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. You know, you can feel that pressure coming in, and you know, it almost makes you wonder about the geomagnetic pole shift that's going on, and how that affects consciousness. With these magnetic poles shifting, certainly that's doing something to the hemispheres of our brain. So, what are your thoughts on that? So I'm going to bounce back into, hang on. There we go. Back in here. And if anyone in Zoom would like to join in, just throw your hand up and I'll check back and forth. So, whoops. We'll go back to share screen. Okay. And there we are. Number 2, a feeling of disorientation, not knowing where you are, a loss of a sense of place. And what this one goes on to say is you're not in 3D anymore as you have moved or are in the process of moving into higher realms. Is anyone feeling like that? I know I've gone through that where it feels like you're moving in and out of like 3D and 5D. On YouTube, Maya is saying that the pole shift is affecting her heart. Terry singing under pressure. Doom, 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 doom. That's funny. Yeah, that whole moving in and out of dimensions thing. I'll feel that at the grocery store. You'll be pushing your shopping cart and you'll see somebody and you'll make that connection with that person. When everyone else is walking around basically in a daze and you look inside of their cart and they have a bunch of crap in there and maybe they're all sugared out or just zombied out from processed foods. But you will meet that one person at a grocery store while you're pushing a cart and you'll make contact with that person. And you won't have to say anything, but you know that they get it. And then when you glance at their cart, you can see that they have like healthy stuff in there. But it's almost like you can feel the vibration, the change of vibration, even in density. It's just an energetic output that you're both putting out that seems to mesh on a higher vibratory level, if that makes sense. So, oh shoot, I got to get the chat up here. Excuse me. On this screen, there it is. Sean is saying, I often feel like I have no clue where I'm at, mostly when others are around to draw my energy and pull me off my center till I have to stop and roll home. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of us are highly empathic too. And you feel that not only that people leeching your energy from you, if you're not, and I hate to say that, but yeah, our energy is free and it's abundant, but it can get leached, it can get sapped, and you can replenish it, but it can get sapped just as easily. And as empaths, when you do go to some of these places or are around lower vibratory people, that definitely plays on you. Number 3 is unusual aches and pains throughout different parts of your body. You are purifying and releasing blocked energy vibrating at 3D while you are vibrating in a higher dimension. I know that recently I've had different pains that just seem to pop up. And a lot of times I keep going back. I'm thinking, okay, is this related to the heart attack in somehow, some way? Or is this some of these ascension symptoms that I'm experiencing? I don't know. On YouTube, Tiffany saying very vivid dreams. Yeah, definitely. That I can definitely relate to that as well, Tiffany. Okay, moving on. Waking at night between 2 and 4 a.m. This is huge. I don't know about you guys. I wake up between those hours almost every freaking night. It's like clockwork. It doesn't matter what time I go to bed. I could go to bed at 8 o'clock. I could go to bed at midnight, but I'm waking up. Usually it's around 2:30 lately. And that's about the most common time that I seem to wake up. I know a lot of people, will wake up on the hour, maybe at 1 or 2 or 3, whatever. For me, it's 2:30. Always waking up at right around 2:30 every morning. And what I end up doing is I stay up for a couple hours until I'm ready to fall back asleep, and I'll end up going back to sleep. But it just seems like 2:30 is that's the time. The numerology is 2 plus 3 is a 5. 5 is change. So uh, that's another thing I want to bring up too, is that you're getting your most DNA upgrades when you are sleeping. So if you have that opportunity to take a nap, if you're feeling tired, let's say in the afternoon, and you're not at work, take that nap. Don't be afraid to take that nap. Listen to your body. I've always been a huge proponent of listening to your body. So make sure you listen to your body, take that nap, get those upgrades. Terry's saying she finally is dreaming again. I spoke to somebody recently that used to smoke weed. She quit, and she wasn't having dreams until she quit smoking weed. And once she quit smoking weed, her dreams came back, and they're vivid and beautiful. Go figure. Memory loss. A great abundance of short-term memory loss and only vague remembrances of your past. You are in more than one dimension at a time and going back and forth as part of the transition. You are experiencing a disconnect. Also, your past is part of the old, and the old is forever gone. Being in the now is the way of the new world. So that makes sense about having memory loss. Is anyone experiencing that? So I'm going to bounce back in on the Zoom chat. I'm going to click out of the screen real quick. And my introverted friends in Zoom, nobody has got their hand up. I'm going to unmute all of you right now. Okay, you've all been unmuted. How are you guys feeling here in Zoom? I hear something going on over at Susan. Okay. And there's Sarah. I hear Sarah chuckling.
Yes, we're quietly listening over here.
Yes, this is great. I love having all these people joining me here. Of course, I can't believe how you guys can't see this on YouTube, but let me try this. No, that didn't work either. But here on Zoom, I've got all these people. I can see their names, but nobody has their camera turned on. They talk about introverted and shy. I can hear maybe if I'm lucky, I can hear their voices like Sarah, but nobody's showing their camera. Nobody wants to be on camera yet, but I have a feeling that'll change down the road because we're going to continue doing this. And you guys are going to break out of your introvertedness. If I can, anyone can. So is there anything you'd like to add, Sarah, seeing how I've got you on here?
I just really enjoy your show. I used to listen to the radio show, I would say back in 2015. My life changed for the better. I would say I started to awaken then. And I appreciate being here with you.
That's awesome. So, thank you. Thank
you. It's a
you.
great platform.
Glad to have you. And I love this platform much better than anything I had with like Blog Talk Radio. The sound on Blog Talk Radio was horrible. And just the whole scheduling thing. This is a lot better. You get great sound. You can have people interact with you live from anywhere around the world. I love it.
Yes, so, I used to always listen to the recordings afterwards.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I want to do too, is upload them to like, was it iTunes or, iHeartRadio and all that stuff. So people can hear the recorded versions on podcasts for them. So if they're out jogging or exercising or whatever, they can still tune into the show.
Definitely. The information is still pertinent, everybody's on their own timeline. So
Definitely. All right. So I'm going to mute everybody again. Thanks for joining me once again. Appreciate that. And we'll go back to screen share. And we're back on the Ascension symptoms. Seeing and hearing things. Let me check out YouTube chat real quick. Rubka is saying memory loss. Dana Brown, how do I turn it on? I'm not sure what you're talking about, but if anyone wants to join me from YouTube in Zoom and join in on the conversation here. Hang on. Uh-oh, I lost it. I can't find it. Oh no. Oh, I can paste it from here. Hang on, bear with me. Okay, we're gonna just, whoops. All right. I'm so disorganized. Hang on. Let's go to YouTube. There. Okay, so thanks for bearing with me. Where did we leave off? I think we're at loss of identity. Uh-oh. And let me scroll back up here. Okay, I think we left off at number 6, and that would be seeing and hearing things. You are experiencing different dimensions as you transition, all according to how sensitive you are and how you are wired. That reminds me of that article that I wrote. I think 30 signs that you're wired differently. That was such an easy article to write. And I'll probably do a show on that down the road. But knowing that you're wired differently helps with the transition that we're going through. And I have spoken to other people who said they've experienced all 30 as well. So I know that I'm not alone, and you're not alone. Even if you've only experienced 5 or 10 of them, of those signs that you're wired differently. For example, one of the signs that you're wired differently is, and this is personal for me, at one point I had, for most of my life, growing up, I had ADD, attention deficit disorder. And on the back of most of my report cards, just about all of them, every quarter, it would say, fails to pay attention. Well, I found school boring, and I would daydream a lot. I would sit by a window, I would look out the window. I'd do anything but learn or listen to the teacher because it was incredibly boring. Reluctantly, I did graduate, but I graduated toward the bottom of my class in high school. Matter of fact, in 7th grade, my teachers met with my parents, And they all agreed. Well, my parents made the ultimate decision to have me held back in 7th grade because I just wasn't getting it like the other kids. And it wasn't that I wasn't getting it. I think it was the other way around. I don't think they were getting it. But as it turned out, I ended up going to college, and my parents chose my curriculum, business administration. And I ended up joining a fraternity, partied my ass off, flunked out miserably 3 times. But I ended up going back to college as an adult learner when I turned 30 or so. Was it 30? It was my mid 30s, mid to late 30s. I ended up going back as an adult learner. And this time I paid for it, put myself through college. And I ended up graduating with honors for both my BA and my master's degree because I chose a curriculum, a major that I found interesting, and that was psychology. I always was fascinated. Why do we do what we do? The mind is such an amazing thing. And now here we are about to embark on this next dimension of reality. And as these magnetic poles are shifting, it still makes me wonder what's happening to our hemispheres of the brain. Why does that corpus callosum that separates both hemispheres block the transmissions of them being able to communicate with one another? And will it be possible to have full capacity of our thinking capabilities when these magnetic poles shift or as they are shifting? So getting back to my point of having ADD slash ADHD, when I was in college, I was prescribed Adderall. That was the first time I received any kind of medication for ADD. And when you're wired differently, when you can take an Adderall, which is an amphetamine, people take it recreationally as an upper, basically. But you're wired differently when you can take an Adderall and go to sleep within an hour and sleep for several hours. That would be me. It did the exact opposite of what it was supposed to do. In terms of having that amphetamine kind of rush, I never got that. But what it did do was it did help me focus. And ultimately what I learned and how I was able to get off of the medication completely was that I had to eliminate the clutter in my mind. And that was pretty easy to do. Before I watched The Secret, I used to be self-proclaimed world's biggest sports enthusiast. I could memorize. I have a semi-photographic memory where if I just look at the statistics in a newspaper, I can tell you who's third in the National League in doubles, who's fifth in ERA, who in the NFL is the seventh leading passer, and how many interceptions and touchdowns has he thrown. I can tell you that stuff instantly like that. It was so easy for me to remember, but I stopped following sports for the most part, except for NFL football, American football. And once I did that, all the clutter disappeared. And I started meditating too. And from that point forward, there was no need for having Adderall. So just being wired differently, ultimately. And I know that a lot of you are wired differently as well. Okay, so I'm going to check. I got to scroll back a little on YouTube. I see an oh my God, me too. This is the best part about doing these kind of chats, is watching the connections being made and people chatting amongst themselves in the chat. I'm totally loving this. I'm totally digging it. This is why I do this. This is about making and creating community. And it's a pleasure to be spending my time with you guys doing this. Dana's saying that all three of my kids, 17, 10, and 9, are all ADD and ADHD, and I am too. Yeah, just eliminate that clutter, Dana. And, I don't know about the kids, teaching them meditation. Kids are so, they're so easily distracted. Though I will tell you, on In5D, there's an open eye meditation, and just go to the search box and type that in, open eye meditation. And what you'll find is this meditation where you just put two objects, like two water bottles, in front of you, maybe like in a V kind of angle away from you, maybe about 7 feet apart or so, and try to focus on both of them. And what happens is you're not going to be going like this. You're just looking straight ahead, but you're present. You're being present of both bottles that are there. And when you do that, it just seems like everything cancels everything else out, and it clears your mind instantly. Now, it's gotten to the point where I can block out everything and anything instantly. I can be on the beach. There could be thousands of people on the beach. But when I get into that meditative state, it's just me. I'm the only one there. Whoops, now hang on. I got to go back to. Okay, I got to just mute the. There we go. Somebody was unmuted. Okay, I'm looking back on Zoom. If anyone has anything they would like to add, just there's a little thing on here where you can throw your hand up and I'll unmute you and jump right in. Okay. And for those joining on Zoom, don't be afraid to turn your camera on so we can place a face with you guys. Okay, so let me go back. Okay. So check out the chat on YouTube. Gail is saying schools would demand them to be medicated. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my father worked in big pharma and gave me a nice lifestyle when I was growing up. And for that, I'm grateful. But I'm so anti-big pharma now. If I can get away from big pharma, and I know certain things are beneficial, that are helpful to certain people, but just about everything that you can find, not everything, but just about everything that you can find in big pharma has a natural alternative for it. Okay. Getting back to this one too, seeing and hearing things. Let me ask you guys this. Have you ever caught visions of things or people out of the corner of your eye and you turn your head and it's gone? Okay, hey, someone's microphone needs to be muted here. I don't know what that was. Hang on. That's Susan. I gotta mute you, Susan. There we go. Susan, you keep unmuting yourself. There we go. Hey, I actually see a person. And it is clan mother Carrie Ann Lucky. I ran out of I unmuted you. Carrie Ann, grandmother.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
Greg. It's Karen Ann Lusick,
Carrie Ann
McDonald.
Lusick. Okay, thank you. I just got the Mac and the little ellipsis after that. Dot, dot, dot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for joining. You're the first person that joined me on tonight's chat that actually has a video.
Non persona,
themselves.
but thank you for being out there and for understanding. I appreciate it. I'm quite well known in the, as you know, the quantum scene too as well. So nice to finally connect like this. But yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent.
So what are you feeling for like these ascension symptoms?
Well, you know, there's a lot of stuff. I do a lot of biofeedback actually, and do a lot of education and consulting as well. So what we're seeing, a lot of it has to do with the Schulman wave shifting. And I do a lot with the Micmac chiefs, the tribal chiefs, former Sergeant Patty Brassard. So we're seeing a lot of the galactic stuff and cosmic stuff and 5G. So it's kind of compounding. So my clientele is really increasing. So trying to keep people grounded. So I'm doing a lot of biofeedback because it can run off people's phones now for free. So it's a great app. And then I'm doing a lot of what you call yoni or lingam steams, but I do children, pets, and just getting them grounded. I found it's been the most exciting thing, actually. So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if people aren't aware of the steaming, it's probably one of the most, I'd say that one of the top things I've ever done in my entire medical career, even nursing and everything else. But people's third eyes or brain fog is going and chelating. And I did a lot of stuff with David Avocado Wolf lately. So getting people on activated charcoal has been huge for keeping them really, really grounded during this time of, you know, high vibration. So it's keeping them together. So how are things with you? What's new with you? I hear you're recouping too.
Yeah. I had the heart attack in September, Friday the 13th, and I'm getting better every day. I'm starting to move a little away from some of these medications and going holistic on it. Let me get back to what you were saying though. What does the activated charcoal do for ascension symptoms?
Well, thank you for asking that question. It's actually excellent. There's a higher spin form of carbon C60, which is a fullerene. It's like a 60 molecule facade that is really great for binding up heavy metals. The activated charcoal, one of the ones we're using is off a coconut tree, actually, once it's been hit by fire, or just a plain activated charcoal. We're using it a lot in something called black lemonade, which is your master cleanser. It's a lemonade diet with adding a teaspoon of the activated black charcoal. So it doesn't change the taste, but what it does is it's binding with the heavy metals, chelation, and the carbon itself is helping change a little bit of our DNA to make us a little bit more resilient and permeable to the 5G and the radiation. And what was really, I don't know if you know a little bit about it, but there's a great write-up on David Wolf. And what happened is when they were trying to do drug testing, they found that the rats in the labs started doubling their lifespan. So that is huge. And most of my clients, I find, I'm, you know, not only have a nursing background, but quantum medicine, holistics, colon hydrotherapy, all that sort of thing. We need to have something in these times of chelation, not just, you know, the chemical and aerosol sprays, but the 5G and the towers and the radiation is really exacerbating some of the viruses and bacteria. So it really helps neutralize some of that. And I'm finding most people are getting leaky brain and leaky gut at the same time, and heart stuff. And so I really advise people getting on this charcoal. It's amazing. It really is. And I just sustained a chemical poisoning for quite some time. And that's what pulled me through, you know.
Hang on. So let's get back to leaky brain. I've had what I call leaky ear.
Yep.
For like, probably close to a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, that will come in from that. And as a colon hydrotherapist as well, our colon is actually how we decolonize. And the steam has been, you know, going up each increment and each meridian. Like I've actually had people come off 8 medications. I've had people with the black, almost like a biofilm come out, like a black little eel snake after, you know, about a couple dozen. I prefer using these kind of technologies where you can use biofeedback off your phone and iPad that is non-dependent on the internet, by the way. These are very easy to self-assess and find out whether many missing minerals and vitamins would be. So the leaky ears, or whatever. Some people are getting tinnitus, right? And some of it has to do with the higher frequencies. And I deal with a lot of people like abductees and people with chipping. So some of that is the radio frequency chipping as well happening with people that have been implanted, whether through whatever vaccine or whatever programs.
So how do you know the difference between high pitched frequencies and tinnitus? I know the difference myself, but
yeah,
how do you know?
Well, I think everyone individually, if you've ever had tinnitus or, you've been swimming or you've gone down a little deeper, it's almost like coming back with the bends, but the ears will pop and you can tell when there's inner ear infections or vertigo or stuff like that affecting. It's totally different when you've got maybe one chip or bilateral chips. We hear a frequency and it's very, very high pitched. It will come in almost like a radio sound, like just squelching, like ee, and you might hear it for anywhere from 30 seconds to a couple minutes. So that's totally different. It's like you're, tuning into these radio waves or radionics. And so that can change. So there is a big difference when you've got someone clinically with tinnitus. And again, they use it as a psychiatric thing, but we do know that most of the people that are gifted are having these, or what we call TIs, or targeted individuals, right? So, or my labs, military lab experiments, we see a lot of that too.
So somebody on YouTube, I keep looking up here on the YouTube chat, and somebody on YouTube is asking, where do we find these products?
Well, again, I have them in every health store. Like I'm up by Saskatoon, by the University of Saskatchewan. So I'm in the Great White Polar North right now. I'm the white bear clan mother, by the way. I'm used to the cold up here, like a white polar bear. However, they're on Amazon, and actually davidwolf.com has got the coal biter. I mean, it's an old Icelandic myth about the coal biter and how it made the weakest people very strong, and impermeable to some of the elements, we'll say. So coal biter is on there, and so is, looking up activated charcoal. I can get seriously at any health store. I'm sure Amazon's got it too. Yeah. I do like the carbon C60, and I use the one that he produces as well as Steve Adler, but there are several different carbon C60s out there. It's like an olive oil, just looks dark, and you take a shot of that a day. But I have activated charcoal all the time. I love it. I really do. And I was using it in a dental pack because of what was going on. A lot of people with the Ascension symptoms I've noticed, or I know if you've heard back, Greg, but I'm getting a lot of people with dental. And because the organs are wired on a tooth meridian, I'm seeing so much inflammation, or it can't be filtered out. So what I did, I made a little tea bag and I put activated charcoal in that and some stevia and some zeolite. And I was wedging these tea bags like rolled joints in my mouth. And that was the most effective as well. It's really great for brain fog or stuff like that, or getting in, because it's all about absorption. I mean, that's why I use actually colon hydrotherapy, but the steam is 70% absorbable. A suppository can be absorbable 100%, but the tea bags are about 80, 90%. So I go with the absorption, not, popping a pill down for some reason.
So I'm looking here in the chat on Zoom, and I'm not sure when Stephanie asked this question, how much should we have? I'm not sure of what she's talking about. I wish I caught that.
The charcoal. Yeah, I see. Okay. I opened up chart. Yeah, I just opened up the chat too. I'm used to doing a lot of stuff, for radio TV too. Activated charcoal, you can take anywhere from half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. You can also get them in encapsulated, pill forms. And I know David Wolf was just on I met him in Calgary, but he was just at the Truth About Cancer. And while he was there was 3 of us that were affected through poisonings in the last few weeks. I made it through. The other one was the supermodel, Elle McPherson, and they had to give her, I guess David advised, about 24 capsules of activated charcoal to absorb and neutralize. And as a former nurse, we would use those in emergency when we had drug overdoses.
Wait, 24 capsules?
24 capsules.
Throughout, in one setting or throughout the day?
Just within a few hours to absorb whatever it was. And I was using copious amounts too. That's why I went out of Saskatoon to Calgary, because I didn't have enough stock here. Now and it got to have it. It's a staple now, guys.
It's going to be a gross question. What does it do when you defecate? Does it kind of change the color of your stool?
It really, really doesn't. A lot of people expect that, but the absorption is binding. You know, it's different where you have like beet juice and we do beets, right? Well, you're expecting the urine and the feces to look a little red, you know,
Yeah,
it scare a few
yeah.
people, but no, you'll love it. And the children love it. I give it to a lot of the children now,
Hmm.
especially for attention deficit, things like that. You know, it really binds up vaccine recovery. Huge.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm all about. Is,
Yeah,
you know,
I just went through my supplements, and I do have activated charcoal in my with my supplements. These are some of the things I'm taking like right now. Apple cider vinegar
yeah.
capsules, because I don't like the taste of apple cider vinegar. I don't know anyone that really does. It's horrible.
It's acquired.
Yeah. Then I got this Alka Balance
Yeah,
stuff, you know,
yeah,
to boost my alkaline.
for sure.
French maritime bark, pine
Yeah,
bark. Krill oil, which is amazing.
yeah.
You know, if anyone's on a statin, I'd recommend this. I'm not telling you to do it, you know, because, you know, don't want to
Well,
get
there's
sued
a
or anything.
well, yeah, we got a little vegan things too, but the pH is actually the most critical, I find. Most people, when I test them, in fact, that's what I did here. I'm just visiting at a friend's right now.
Mhm.
And
I'm
what
here.
happened is that most of the people are too acidic and they don't realize that normal blood is 7.4 and you deviate just 0.2 and it's exponential. That means it's, you know, 10, then, 100, then 1,000, then 10,000, 100,000. So a lot of my clients are over 100,000 times too much acid in their system. So they might be alkaline here, but by the time it gets through this biofilm and the guts that are fermenting, like, you know, the compost from hell, and, you know, leaky gut, you got maggots, you got candida, you got everything in there. It's acidic. And so that's what I find, you know, if you're not taking that 1 teaspoon of baking soda, we've got stuff up here. In fact, Health Canada was trying to pull it off. We used to call it pH happy caps, like get the negativity out of your life. And Health Canada had a heart attack, right? You know, we were just getting too many people happy up here. And so we have to call it easy does it. But, you know, the alkalinity is very important. And I have all my clients on spring water. I mean, I go up to our local springs, and if you don't know where they are, findaspring.com, guys. That's it. You know, we're water and, you know, electrical magnetics. That's why I use the
Mhm.
biofeedback, because this identifies the electrical magnetic system for us. So this can turn into a scalar wave or a pulse, like an orgon generator. It's like a Tesla coil. So we can reactivate it on a different frequency, and I can just look within seconds and just find out which meridian's blocked here. And I can also run a quick aura scan off someone within seconds.
Now,
So
where can you get that app?
I've
Or
got,
what is the app called?
well, it's called, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called a Genius Biofeedback or Genius Insight Biofeedback. And it can run off your phone or an iPad, or it's also got a iTab version, but it's free for 2 weeks. And I have been teaching and instructing in biofeedback and radionics and rife and that kind of thing for a long time, bioacoustics and bioresonance. This geniusinsight.com, Dr. Ariel Policano runs at geniusbiofeedback.com is hers. And then the developer was Ryan Williams, and his is geniusinsighthealthapps.com.
Okay.
So either one of them, I mean, like I said, I do this also professionally, but I mean, you can take people from this to this just by doing sessions, and it can identify even, you know, how you can find out what's the best paint, right? Well, now you can find out what's the best, you know, calendula or maitake or what mushrooms you can look at stuff. It identifies blocked acupuncture points now. And so you can send in the actual sound wave right to where the point is, you know, if you had a heart attack or something, or stroke or whatever, but it will identify the blocked meridian, because it's not really the heart. It would be just underneath the liver gallbladder area, which is the heart point and portal that goes up to there. So that meridian for you would have been blocked.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where we come in as castor oil packs, colon hydrotherapy. And this, I tell you, for men, it's never been so great. It's not just the libido thing, but it's called a resume. I think it was for the men to start resuming relations with the women. I don't know. But it wasn't just for aphrodisiac purposes, but it literally was for parasite cleansing. It's my first line for cancer now, for any kind of recovery. So if people want to look at steamychick.com, Greg, that's an amazing thing. I don't know if anyone's looked at that, you know, but they do. They call it a vaginal steam, or for men, they call it a prostate or a steam. So
if you get a chance, Stephanie's asking you to type it in, at least on the Zoom. I don't
Mhm.
know. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
you
can do
can,
that.
yeah, share those links. And
Mhm.
I have one. I know. I want to get back to the Ascension symptoms, but I have one question for you because you brought this up and it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
And additionally, I'd like to actually bring you back and get you so we can have a conversation for like an hour, you and me.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. But okay, so getting back to the leaky ear, I was taking antibiotics for that, and
Right.
it didn't seem to help,
It
honestly.
won't. It won't. And I'm a nurse. Okay.
Hmm.
In all honesty, they are not trained appropriately. Okay. And now that, I've got herbology, essential oils, and quantum medicine is a whole specialty. We only have 3 universities basically on this planet at this caliber. So this is like that secret space program kind of stuff. I do the beta testing for that kind of stuff before it hits the market. What happens though is when you take anti-bio means anti-life. So it's like a straw man word or legalese. It means it's going to destroy your life force. So there's always central nervous damage. There's chipping involved. There's so many side effects. There's no such thing as a healthy drug. There just isn't. And so once we start learning the replacements, I can use lavender essential oil instead of any antibiotic. It could be frankincense, it could be myrrh. Anything is much more potent as a probiotic or prebiotic. And so the actual word, I don't know if you know that, but sorcery is the actual derivative word, Greek word for pharmaceutica. And that's why that RX symbol, the RX was an old Illuminati sigil from Egyptian times for black magic, but that was meant to block the third eye. So people technically would never ascend by being on the meds. And that's part of the ascension stuff that we're
Wow.
seeing now. So I teach a lot of things,
Somebody
in that regard too.
somebody just mentioned that. I think I forgot who I was listening to.
Hmm.
It might have been Sam Muggsy who said something. She has a show every
The
Tuesday
quantum
night.
shift. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
With Kent Dunn. Yeah. I'm aware of them.
yeah. And well, I think Sam was saying something about you you can't have big pharma in you when you're making this shift. And that's I wonder about that. I don't think that's going to be the ultimate determination. I think it's your vibration, despite of any big pharma that you might have.
Well,
But
Sam and I both, I've been in this field a lot longer than her.
mhm,
Um, we both run what was called the skill biofeedback. That's her main thing. That's a $30,000 version versus this one's under $1,000. Actually, you can
mhm.
get it for $97 a month for the same type of technology that can be client run without having to have a license behind you. I'm off grid. Thanks for understanding. I do gifting and barter myself, and I have been. So I don't hold any government contracts, which means that could be one of their worst nightmares too. But what happens in here is that some of the stuff, let's say, with what Sam's talking, in regards to, is that the pharma itself, people do have to make choices. Okay. And it is about frequency, but you can't get through the gate, or like a grid keeper, you can't get into the higher frequencies when you've got something. It's like having oral sex with Greg, Robert, James Monsanto. It's just not fun. Okay. And they put a lot of things, not only DNA, recombinant DNA, prions, chipping, there's all sorts of things that are very nefarious that a lot of people aren't aware of. So, nothing is benign in there. And there does have to become a choice. I know she's very ill herself, which is why a lot of people sometimes get into these fields. But she's a, kind of like Lyme's Morgellons sufferer, and she's had many, many health challenges in there. But I'm in about getting people self-empowered and letting them come off the grid that way, the information a little bit differently. So it does become a clear choice. It's not just frequency, it's going to be what's holding you back. And there's a tie in. And as you know, kind of I don't like David Hawkins things, but power versus force. So if we took the chakras and said, instead of your third chakra, we'll say 300 hertz. Instead of your, heart 432, your throat 528 hertz, whatever. It's all about vibration. And right now they are harvesting actively anyone under about 250, 300 hertz. So we know the side effects. If you ever see someone on prescriptions, I can tell they'll be in the orange and the red. They will
So-
not have the higher pink or purples in their auric field.
So you're saying they are harvesting. Who are they?
We'll just call them the cabal. How about we'll leave it like that? The nasty boys. I don't want to use the us and them thing, but there are nefarious groups that are harvesting. That's part of the human trafficking, slaving, kuru, adrenochrome
Wouldn't
groups.
you think that that would be also off planet, not just here, the cabal here, but off planet, like the
Yeah.
Alpha Draconians and
Yeah, we've got lots of stuff. I'm involved in that, and I can speak to that because I was part of Project Ascension with Patty Brassard for numerous years. So I can actually say I've watched from the International Space Station for 7 years. So
Wow.
I see what can go on and off this planet that you're not allowed to see because I still have clearance for that. And she was the one that built NASA's communications weapons computer lab, and she still has the password. So there are a lot of things that we disclosed at Project Ascension on YouTube if people want the weird and the woo-woo and the wacky stuff. So there's many things that go on and off this planet, including just DNA and women and children and men for trafficking purposes, for sure.
Well, you know, this is really fascinating. We're going to have to get back together. I got to continue on with the Ascension symptoms, but
Yeah, let's,
you
yeah.
and I are going to have to get back together again. Send me your contact information on YouTube, on Facebook, or maybe through here.
Yeah, we'll do.
I'll save the text, and I'll be able to get in touch with you, and we can make arrangements to.
Yeah, absolutely. We could do that. And then I got Facebook. I've got clanmother13 at Gmail, and then I've got a Zoom, and we could Skype or something like that if that's whatever you
Yeah.
prefer.
Sounds
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me here.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to put you on mute, and I'm going to get back to the symptoms, and I'll open up the chat once again when I get back, when I check on the room again. So let me get back to share screen here. That was so cool. What a great conversation that was. You know, I totally did not expect that. But it's so cool having people pop in. You never know who's going to pop in on you when you're just doing a live chat like this. And that's the beauty of having Zoom versus Blog Talk Radio, like what I was doing with In5D radio. So I think, gosh, we've only gone through 6. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. Let me check the Yahoo or the Yahoo YouTube chat. How are you guys doing in YouTube up here? Hello from Clearwater. It's howdy neighbor, just right down the road from you, Sarasota. Don't forget for cancer, bitter apricot seeds and almonds. Yeah. Garlic is amazing, Dana. Turmeric and ginger root. We've all become our own doctors. It's amazing how many of us have delved into natural remedies versus big pharma. And, you know, I know that when I upload this to YouTube, they're going to be looking for certain words. So there's certain things I can't say about that, but I think you guys already know. Thank you, Rose. Ancient Rosewater said, God, how I love In5D and the articles. Well, it's great. This is what it's all about. And I finally have a way to contact everybody here on YouTube as well as through Zoom. I'm totally digging this. So we're going to be doing this a lot more. And as I mentioned, for those who are who tuned in a little bit later, got a couple things going on. What I'll be doing is scheduling interviews, for example, like with Karian, who I just spoke with. I've got an interview coming up sometime between Christmas and New Year's with astrologer Jim Delacoli, who I've interviewed several times, like 3 or 4 times on In5D radio. Fascinating. He's, you know, you guys, if you've heard those interviews that we've had in the past, like we were just talking tonight about the one that we did where we went in depth about Pluto the Pluto generations. You know, each generation of the Pluto, the cycles, has its own distinct generation. And for example, you know, my sisters, I have two older sisters and then me. My older sisters are only 3 and 2 years apart from me, but they're a different generation. They're Pluto and Leo. That's the generation before me. That's the generation I love. I love Pluto and Leo, because they're the ones that beat down the path for us. They laid the trail for us. And if it wasn't for Pluto and Leo, we wouldn't be here having this conversation right now. But yet, I've only 3 years difference between my oldest sister and me. Two totally different generations, two totally different styles of music. She's more of like the freedom rock, and I'm more, you know, 80s hard rock. So let's keep moving on here, seeing how we're falling behind. Got 24 and we've only gone through 6 in an hour and 20 minutes. This might have to be a 2-part video. Oh yeah, getting back to what I was saying before too. Before we move on. So I'll be doing that. I'll be having interviews with people. The first one that I'm probably going to schedule will be with Jim Delacoli, unless it's with another astrologer that I have, and his name is Matthew John. He'll be having an article coming out tomorrow, actually in about 4 hours, less than 4 hours, on In5D, about the December solstice coming up here on the 21st in 2 days. So I asked him if he would like to join me on one of these interviews, because he just, I don't know if you guys have seen his writing, but he's amazing. He writes so friggin' well. I've been trying to encourage him to write other things outside of, you know, his knowledge for astrology, because he does include that in his articles, but he's so busy, he doesn't have the time for it. But you'll totally, if you dig his writing, you'll probably totally dig, you know, who he is, and it'd be great to get him on here. And I'd like to do that with many of our writers, if not all of our writers, for In5D. So not only will you be able to place a face, but you'll also be able to place a voice with that face, and you know, kind of connect us all together. And that's what this is all about. That's what this is about right here, right now. This is about community, bringing family together, and having you guys, you know, chatting away in all the chat boxes that are going on, whether it is on Zoom or whether it's here on YouTube. For some reason, I can't get my chat box up on Zoom. So bear with me here. Okay, maybe I have to have it like that. Let's try that. Okay, and okay. The other thing I want to say is I'm having a New Year's Eve get together extravaganza where I'm going to be doing some predictions on what you can expect in the upcoming years, year and years. So I encourage people to join me on that. This is going to be on Zoom and on YouTube. So, you know, if you know of any psychics that are out there that would like to jump in and share with, you know, what they perhaps might see in the upcoming year or years, let them know about that. That'd be cool. And I know that Jim Delacoli said he would join us on that, and perhaps throw in what he might see astrologically of what's going on in the upcoming future. So that's really cool. And what I'll be doing too, additionally, is for my Patreon followers of 555 or more, we're going to be doing, it's probably going to be bi-weekly meetings like what we're doing right now. And it's going to be on topics like we're covering right now. The reason I'm putting this out right now the way it is because I'm getting used to this equipment. And that'll be for my Patreon subscribers of 555 or higher. And I'll probably just end up, I don't know, downloading some highlights to YouTube to let you guys see what's going on there. And hopefully we'll have some more conversations with uh, live people on Patreon as well. So now we can move on. Let me check the chat and YouTube. You guys are all amazing. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Number 7, after all that, loss of identity. You try to access the old you, but it is no longer there. You may not know who you are looking at in the mirror. You have cleared much of your old patterns and are now embodying much more light and a simpler, more purified divine you. All is in order. You are okay. Has anyone experienced that? A loss of identity? No, yeah, we're starting to get them. People are relating to that in YouTube. The loss of identity. It's almost as if the higher self is detaching from the physical vessel. Does that make sense? To me, it does. That's the best way I could probably describe that. And that looks like it's kind of related to number 8, feeling out of body. You may feel as though someone is talking, but it is not you. This is our natural defense mechanism of survival when we are under acute stress or feeling traumatized or out of control. Your body is going through a lot and you may not want to be in it. My Ascension guide told me that this was a way of easing the transition process and that I did not need to experience what my body was going through. This only lasted a short time. It passes. I know a lot of people have had out-of-body experiences. I know that I have a friend of mine who, when she was young, a young girl, probably before or around the age of being a kindergartner, 5, 6, 7 years old, perhaps, she would go to her friend's house or her neighbor's house. And what she would do is, talk with her neighbors and then go home, and she would have out of body experiences after that. And she'd go back to her neighbor's house while she's having the out of body experience. Now, she was too young to understand what was going on, but she told me that she would just go there and just like hang out, and she'd watch them watching TV. There'd be something on TV, or they'd do something that she didn't see when she was there beforehand. But the following day, she would comment about that to them. And they said, "How did you know that?" She's like, "I was right here. Didn't you know I was here?" Well, she ended up telling her friends about this. She's a nurse. I believe she has her master's degree in nursing, but she's a nurse in Texas. And she ended up telling her friends about this gift that she has. And her friends ridiculed her because they didn't have that gift. And because they didn't have it, she looked like the crazy one, but she was the most sane out of all of them. What she ended up doing was she suppressed that ability of being out of body. And it wasn't until maybe, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 years ago that she started working on getting that back, from the last I heard. So that's really cool. And anyone that has those kind of abilities, you want to cultivate that. It reminds me of that picture of these kids, and you can see inside their brain. And it's like a little peanut inside their brain. And they're ridiculing this one kid who has this full brain that's fully interactive. Kids can be cruel. They can be really cruel. So I'm just going to check out the chat on YouTube. Damn Jan is saying that all my OBEs involve meeting shadow people, and I am afraid. I actually see that as an opportunity. Number one, to face your fear, but number two, and probably more importantly, to help those shadow people. We have several articles on In5D. If you go to the search box, just type in shadow people. I'm sure that can help a lot of people with that. I've seen shadow people, but to me, I haven't seen one that I felt was nefarious or dark or did not have my best intentions in mind. It's just beings in the shadow. It wasn't necessarily evil kind of beings. Okay, number 9, periods of deep sleeping. Who's experiencing this? You are resting from all the acclimating and are integrating as well as building up for the next phase or days of extreme fatigue. Your body is losing density and going through intense restructuring. So I don't know about my body losing density this time of the year with the holiday season right here. I don't know about you guys, but I put a little weight on this time of the year usually. And despite getting out on the beach and exercising, not as much as what I was doing when I was living on the beach, but I still get out and exercise, I have put some weight on. So as a matter of fact, today was my first day. I said, screw it. I'm getting a head start on my New Year's resolution to lose weight. And that's what I'm going to do. So a lot of people, though, I've heard various ways of looking at that. Some people say that when you put the weight on, you have more mass to stay grounded, to hold more light, to absorb more light. And other people, you can look at it the other way around by saying that when you are losing that density and weight, you are becoming that light body. So what do you guys think? What is it? Is it both? Are both right? I see in the chat on YouTube that a lot of people are experiencing sleeping. Here's Kathy saying sleeping 11 to 12 hours nightly the last 6 months. I am so envious of anyone that can sleep. And I know being envious is not a good vibratory emotion, but I am envious of anyone that can sleep. I haven't, since my daughter was born, this is 1994, I don't remember sleeping longer than 3 or 4 hours. Usually it's about an hour and a half or 2 hours, and I'll wake up every hour and a half and 2 hours throughout the night. And I just can't sleep. I don't know what it is, but I'm tired all the time. I end up taking naps. I'll take a nap, sometime, like a couple days ago, I took a nap at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then I took another one at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were only like a couple hour naps, maybe hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. But yeah, crazy. So I'm going to jump back here, and I'm going to unmute everyone again here on Zoom. Hi, Marnie. I see your microphone's lit up.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. I don't know how to work this thing and I'm driving. I didn't know my microphone was on,
Well, I
but I didn't want to miss it.
I unmuted everyone. So yeah, it was actually
Okay.
off, but I just unmuted you. So I better let you, I was going to ask you a couple questions, but I better let you drive.
Well, it's okay. I'm going to pull over. Ask away.
Okay. Well, what are you feeling for these Ascension symptoms so far?
Oh, I have had trouble sleeping lately. Lots of baths, and I just moved to the ocean, so that's been amazing. Nature, staying grounded, juicing, and what else am I doing? Yeah, that's about it that I can think of right now.
Okay. Well, are you experiencing, like the last one that we read was a lot of sleep, having, feeling the need to sleep?
Yeah, but that's only been like the last maybe 3 days, because before that I was having a hard time sleeping. It was the complete opposite, and now it's like I cannot get enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But before it was like I would be tired and I'd try to go to bed, and some nights I'd be up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep, yet I was tired. It was so frustrating. And now I just want to sleep all the time.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm seeing some of the people that are commenting on YouTube. Here's Nancy that's saying, I only get about 4 to 6 hours of sleep. I can't sleep either. That's exactly me. Maybe I sleep 5 or 6 hours total every night, but that's all I can sleep. So other people are sleeping like 11 hours. It affects everybody differently, apparently.
Yeah, it sure does. Definitely.
So anyone else want to jump in here on Zoom? You're all unmuted.
Free for all.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back and mute everyone again and move back on to the next Ascension symptom. Marnie, thank you for joining us, and feel free to jump in and, whenever we unmute everyone, or if you want,
Okay.
just throw your hand up and I'll bring you back on.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
You too.
So is everyone having fun tonight? This is cool. If you're on YouTube, make sure to, friend each other there. And if you're watching this on a recorded version, perhaps on Facebook, make sure you friend other people and share it with other people. Get the word out there. It's all about making these connections and family. So number 10, heightened sensitivities to your surroundings. Yeah, this one I can definitely relate to. Crowds, especially if you're an introvert, you don't like crowds. Crowds, noise, foods, TV, and other human voices and various other stimulations are barely tolerable. You also overwhelm very easily and become easily overstimulated. You are tuning up. Know that this will eventually pass. This too shall pass. So yeah, crowds, noise, food. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I crowds, I just, yeah. I think that sums it up in one sound. Ugh. Yeah, unless it's a conference, I don't mind speaking at conferences, even though I am an introvert. I can get up and speak in front of a large group of people. I don't mind that as much because you're with like-minded people. It's a lot different than, just being in front of a bunch of people you don't know. Also, like crowds at the beach, that doesn't bother me either, because people that are at the beach are just, most of the people are in very positive moods, and especially here at this beach on Siesta Key, where the sand is 99.9% quartz crystal. It's such a high vibratory sand that you don't think twice about the crowds when you're feeling that good. But I know that recently my hearing, it seems like it's gotten more acute. A lot of times I'll find myself lowering the volume of maybe my laptop or the TV from what it used to be. It's actually lower now. It's as if my hearing, it's as if I have a hearing aid in there. It's already, and it's cranked up, but I don't need a hearing aid. It seems like my hearing has become better, or just more acute. I guess that's a better way of saying it. Is anyone else experiencing that? I'm seeing a nod over here. I just unmuted you.
Again.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, I've noticed the same thing too. I think for some of the people that are a little bit higher vibration, our entire sensory perceptions are becoming more aware. Those of us, like Patty would talk about, saying that it's Gaia tuning in, and the Schulman way is not at even 7.83 or even a couple hundred. It's at 700-800. So I have access to a few things. So it's really pushing our limits. But I noticed the same thing. My vision, I just went through chemical poisoning and stuff, but a lot of people are, it's like they're becoming aware, things that have been dulled down so much. And if you're I think that's a great thing that you mentioned about being with the sand and the water. Those people that are in nature are becoming more grounded. And that's why it's so important for those of us that are, to have trees and wood stuff. That's why we're doing like sandalwood, cedarwood, myrrh trees, cacao trees, chocolate trees, lemon, lime, because it grounds you. Like chaga and reishi mushroom ground us. And those people not using that are having extreme difficulty if they're in real urban environments, right? So, but I think that's why, because the more connected some people are, different things are open and some people are blocked and others. And that's why I like doing the kind of scanning, because we can see where those blocks are. But I know it's like, oh yeah, bring it on. It's like, turn down the volume some days, right?
What I find is, and you hit the nail on the head right there, the number one way, as far as I'm concerned, to beat these ascension symptoms is grounding.
For sure.
Number
Earthing.
one. Yeah. Make that connection.
Yeah. And for those that are not, that's why this steam, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, Greg, but basically you take a little hot plate and you put a little pot full of the herbs, your favorite herbs in there, 4, 5, 6 cups, boil it up, bring it down to just a warm mist, and you just sit over a stool or a chair cut out. And that's what's doing it. That's the best way to get that root chakra, because they've blown all the other circuits, it's like blowing the breaker switch on everything else. And if they're down to the last switch there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, anyone else here in Zoom want to jump in? How you doing there, Marnie?
Oh, hi. Yeah, I've had a lot more ringing in my ears. Or not even, it's like short-lived. It'll be just like for a little bit, and then I'll be like, oh, that's weird, but it's been more than normal.
Are you by chance a musician at all?
No.
Okay.
I'm not.
Because I've encouraged other people that are musicians to find those notes that you're hearing, because each note has a corresponding. I would have no clue. Yeah, each note has a corresponding chakra and meaning to it outside of the chakras. So it's really fascinating. That's I was doing the high pitched frequency energy reports every day for a while, but I found that it was just a lot of work, and I stopped doing it. Yeah, but I still do it though, especially when a new frequency comes in. I just had one the other day that was an F sharp, which is a cusp of the F and the G, which is the heart chakra and the crown chakra.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's a very powerful kind of, when you get those kind of energies, you know something's going on right here and right there. So, I'm pointing to my heart and my crown, but yeah, it's fascinating. So yeah, it's important that you pay attention to that. And if you could, I actually have a video on In5D, my In5D YouTube channel, where it has all the pitches and all the keys that are associated with it. So you can actually figure out what that sound is. If you can just hum it, hum it as long as you can, and then sync it up with one of those pitches that are on there.
Good idea. I'm gonna have to do that.
Yep. Give it a shot. Anyway. So anyone else here on Zoom chat want to jump in?
No.
Not looking like it. Nope.
I'm going to send you in the chat room here. I have
Okay.
all those kind of charts that we keep because I teach all this.
Uh-huh.
So this is actually, I'll send you the Genius I use for spine, hertz, and frequencies.
Yay.
So
Awesome.
that will go in if that's something that you care to share. Feel free. I'm going to be putting the
Okay.
files in right now.
Excellent. I'm gonna be I'm saving the chat, so I'll be able to refer back to this as well on Zoom. So I'm once again gonna mute everybody, and we're gonna move on to whatever's next here. Okay, number 11. You don't feel like doing anything. All right, who's up for that one? Oh, somebody's drawing on. Hang on. Someone used the annotation, and let me just clear it. Clear all drawings. There we go. Don't be annotating here. All right, you don't feel like doing anything. You are in a rest period, rebooting. Your body knows what it needs. In addition, when you begin reaching the higher realms, doing and making things happen becomes obsolete, as the new energies support the feminine of basking, receiving, creating, self-care, and nurturing. Ask the universe to bring you what you want while you are enjoying yourself and having fun. Kathy on YouTube is saying, oh, wow, I thought I was alone on not wanting to do anything. I'm here. I'm kind of like toying around with some of these controls here. And I'm looking at the chat as well up on YouTube, as well as what I just received on Zoom. So I'm here, folks. So yeah, what we're getting on YouTube is that, people are having a hard time getting motivated, like Marguerite Anderson's saying. It's her busy season for art commissions, but yes, tough to feel motivated. It's especially hard too when you have these bouts of tiredness from these upgrades that we're getting and you're forced to go to sleep. So when do you actually have time to do anything positive or constructive, Okay, so let's see. Number 12, an intolerance for lower vibrational things of the third dimension. This is reflected in conversations, attitudes, societal structures, healing modalities, etc. They literally make you feel sick inside. You are in a higher vibration and your energies are no longer in alignment. You're being pushed to move forward and be and create the new. One basic law of quantum physics states that two vibrations of different speeds cannot occupy the same space at the same time. That's interesting. This is and has been true on this dimensional level of truth. However, this law is currently being broken. And I think what they're saying is that with this law being broken, we're kind of like moving in and out of these dimensions. So while they're saying one basic law of quantum physics states that two vibrations of different speeds cannot occupy the same space at the same time may be true, it is possible to go in and out of these dimensions. Does that make sense? Okay, bear with me. I'm so confused here with this, these settings that I have on Zoom. I'm trying to figure out how to get back to how to exit one screen and go to another on Zoom. So bear with me, folks. This is a learning experience. Huh. Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to get to that. Once again, bear with me, folks. This is, oh, there it is. That's what I was looking for. And let me go like that, like that. Okay. Okay, so is anyone else feeling like they're kind of like going in and out of time? Are you having that experience of where you feel like you can be in between dimensions or going in and out of dimensions? Is anyone feeling like that? You're welcome, Marguerite. Marguerite's saying, thank you for doing this. This is the first for me. You're very welcome. This is interesting. Rhonda's saying that her blood pressure medications make her blood pressure fluctuate drastically. I wonder if that has a lot to do with these Ascension symptoms and the approaching winter solstice. Here's a question. What about carpal tunnel? The testing says it's severe and I need surgery, but I don't want to have it done. I don't know if that, I couldn't answer that one for you, honestly. What do you think, Carrie Ann?
Back on, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There are lots of things we do for instead of carpal tunnel or repetitive strain injury on the hands. They're actually in Vedic or shamanic or traditional Chinese medicine. We use them as the meridian lines. So I always look at the meridian lines still connect to the guts, the root chakra. So I will use essential oils, raindrop technique, get the pH up, lots of digestive enzymes, and you can go locally, put essential oils on, castor oil. So I broke my knee. By the way, I don't even have a health card. Okay. So I've broken these knees in many places and ankles and just put on essential oils and castor oil packs and just secured it with a hot, wet towel. So that's one way. And then biofeedback again can identify it, and we can sit in the right hertz, or it's the only time I get to hurt my clients, Greg, is we can set in the right frequency, because your hands are connected to the fourth chakra, so to speak. So I'm going to look where the blocks are in the 400 to 500 hertz. So I can actually identify right down to the meridian, right down to the what we call vitaflex, or as you would call reflexology point, and open it up and then send in a frequency. That's what radionics looks like. And I can send in the frequencies of the hertz to that individual. And by doing that, you can put it on with headphones. You can put it onto the wrist. I also have got a Tesla power plate that I actually put those signatures into the water, spring water. You drink the water instead of homeopathy, and it will distribute the frequency of the medicine where it needs to go. So it brings you right back to center point, or what we call 0 point. So I do things like that. So I'm actually one of the ones that discovered the remedy to Lyme's, by the way.
Wow.
So we took the actual ticks, put them on the remedy plates, and I reverse engineered it. So anyone that's got the Genius biofeedback now has got options to reversing all these things like vaccine recovery and things like that.
That is
So yeah,
cool.
carpal tunnel is pretty easy for me.
Yeah, compared to Lyme disease.
Yeah, it is. But that's what I'm saying. You can download these things on, an Android or a phone, and you can deal with it locally. But the problem being is below. And as weird as it is, I run it through steam, just like you do facial steams and root chakra. No one will do a vaginal steam, right? Unless you go to Steamy Chip. I call it now the sacred hoop ceremony. So the tribes up here, because I do a lot on the reserves, right? Oh, the city and the sacred hoop ceremony. It's the Karen Ann Lusick thing. It's keep calm. But you could actually run your hand just slightly through steam too, like go through all the meridians. Essential oils have a frequency. Yeah. So in the bones and the muscles and the joints, you would use like birch, wintergreen, fir, because they're all in the 500-600 hertz. Where peppermint's 78. So.
Wow.
Okay.
Very cool.
I
Thank you.
sent you the frequencies. Yeah.
I see that, and I thank you for that as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty. So we're going to move on to the next one here. We're just moving right along here. Okay. Number 13, a loss of desire for food and or sleep. Well, that's a tough one this time of the year because there's all sorts of goodies going on. Christmas baking and all that stuff. Anyway, let's check it out. Your body is adjusting to a new, higher state of existence. Your new body is slowly learning and adapting to the truth of its superiority of the old body. You require little to no sustenance, although drink much water. And you might not need much sleep. You might not sleep much. Soon to be none. Well, that's interesting. We were just talking about that. And several of us have not been needing the need for as much sleep lately. The body's need for sleep is acquired through meditative practices and is sated within a fraction of your past body's requirement of sleep, and or a need to eat often, along with what feels like attacks of low blood sugar. Weight gain, especially in the abdominal area. Oh yeah, I've got that. A craving for protein. I have that. You are requiring an enormous amount of fuel for this ascension process. See, that makes perfect sense. So that's why perhaps people are taking on weight this time. Well, this time of the year we are anyway. Many of us are during the holiday season. Weight gain with an inability to lose it no matter what you do is one of the most typical experiences. Trust that your body knows what it is doing. Well, boy, if that didn't hit the nail on the head. I know I've been experiencing that myself with, the last few months. I was just looking at I have an app on my cell phone. I have this particular scale. It's called a Weight Guru. And what you can do is you can record all your weight, your weight each day. And I was, gosh, I was significantly lighter not too long ago, and I put a lot of weight on since. So, and I am feeling that need for protein. I know it's horrible. A lot of people try to stay away from protein, especially meat. I try to eat the organic meats and, you know, chicken as well, trying to do the right thing. And once again, the loss of sleep, we were just talking about this before, and yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Not needing as much sleep. Who else is going through this? Let me know. Let's see what's going on in YouTube. Starlight, Starbright. My kids haven't been needing as much food lately. Anyone else? Interesting. So we're getting some people with a loss of appetite up there in YouTube. But yeah, I have no problem putting weight on, especially this time of the year. It's coming on, and it's going to be going off. Today was the first day I made a conscientious effort to lose that weight. So, okay, let's go back to the list. Well, here's one that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. A sudden disappearance of friends, activities, habits, jobs, and residences. You are evolving beyond what you used to be, and these people and surroundings no longer match your vibration. The new will soon arrive and feel so much better. And right below there's a great article. It's one of my favorite articles that I wrote. It's called "So Your Spiritual Awakening Costs You Some Friends." True story that's in there. And the whole article, it's a lengthy article. It's one of the longer ones I've written. But it was almost like when I wrote it, it was almost like automatic writing. I don't really even remember writing the article. It went by so quickly. And it's just straight from the heart to the hand. So yeah, a sudden disappearance of friends, activities, habits, jobs, and residences. So I know a lot of people have been experiencing that. It's something that can be, quite saddening, but it's also, it's liberating too, from a spiritual perspective, knowing where you are and knowing how comfortable you are in your own body, and accepting that and realizing that these people that were in your life came into your life for, a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and not everybody will be there for that lifetime. That includes my, guy that was my best friend since we were 6 years old. We stopped. I had to unfriend him because he was belittling my friends on Facebook, and so that's the way it goes. So, who else has been having that kind of experience? Anyone? Oh, here's people on YouTube. I'm way beyond what I used to be. I don't relate to the people I used to, says Tiffany. Nobody hangs out here anymore, says Terry. Cynthia says, yes, it cost me an entire family, husband and 3 beautiful girls. Oh, I'm sorry, Cynthia. Yeah, Rhonda, I have a Zoom chat going while I'm multicasting on Zoom and on YouTube. So I've got a second computer up that I can see the chat going on YouTube right now. And I have a group of people here on Zoom who are always welcome to chime in. Just throw your hand up and I'll get you in. So. Okay, we're gonna check out the next. Number 15, you absolutely cannot do certain things anymore. When you try to do your usual routines and activities, it feels downright awful. You are evolving beyond what you used to be, and these people and surroundings no longer match your vibration. The new will soon arrive and feel so much better. I think I just read that one. Let's go to 16. Experiencing emotional ups and downs, weeping. Our emotions are, I hate when they put these two words together because it sounds ridiculous when I say it. Our emotions are our outlet for release, and we are releasing a lot. I'll bet you there's a shitload of people that are going through these emotional ups and downs. This is so typical this time of the year. I've been on this kick watching time travel movies, and I'm stupidest movies. I find myself crying at it at the end, and it's not just that. There's a lot of things that are going on. There's a lot of purging that's going on, deep soul purging, that you might find yourself crying for no particular reason. Just something comes in and enters you on a vibratory level that is purging whatever it is that needs to be cleaned. And you find yourself crying or feeling really sad for no reason whatsoever, but know that this is a part of the process that's going on, that you are getting cleansed and healed. Is there anybody in Zoom that would like to chime in? Okay. What's that? Okay. I unmuted everyone, so if anyone on Zoom wants to jump in. Okay. Mute you back. Oops, hang on. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say a lot of people, and I've noticed with my clients too, they've become more emotional. There's a lot of old energy or ancestral, what we call miasmic, that hasn't been released. And that's why I do a lot in the identification and doing that for consulting, but also using essential oils. They're one of the few things that cross the blood-brain barrier, and they bypass our hard wiring, and they go right to the limbic system. So I really encourage people that are having a lot of the emotional stuff that they haven't released yet, that old energy stock. It's really great for that. There's a great book. We just had Dr. Carolyn Bean come in, and she did a great thing. It's beyond the tapping and the EFT. We kind of do a combination of that, but with the oils. And so we can actually put this oil on point or by frequency. So if they're anger, we know we can use different oils and combine it to get into the liver or unblock those points too, not just tapping where it is. So I think it's really important. We have to release this old stuff to move on to the new. There's a lot of people, like I said, they're not ready for the 40 or the 5D and where we're moving into, because we're vortexing. And that's part of shedding old ways of doing things, right? We want to have the new earth. So this is like, bring it on now. It's like,
but that a lot of people are afraid to see what is about to be brought on to them, though, that it's those shadow selves of your past and things that you have to clear from previous lives that are coming up, and people have no idea why certain things are happening to them at this time. Everything might be going perfectly well for them, but all of a sudden, bam, something from a past life comes up unexpectedly, and it just throws them for a loop.
Oh, this is timeline zero. I'm dealing with a lot of people with post-traumatic stress too, like what you call the secret space in the program and the commands, right? And they're having a lot of stuff coming through, bleeding through now. And so trying to even bring some of these people back together, with different alters or almost like different multiple personalities too, to trying to integrate some of this stuff now is huge. So yeah, have fun. It's time to go.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Let's move on to our next one here. It just takes me a second to get there. A wanting to go home, number 17. 17. A wanting to go home, as if everything is over and you don't belong here anymore. And I know Dolores Cannon spoke about this, a feeling of wanting to go home. She spoke about that often. We are returning to source. Everything is over, but many of us are staying to experience and create the new world. Also, our old plans for coming have been completed. So what we're seeing here, like I said, Dolores Cannon spoke of that feeling of wanting to go home. A lot of people have experienced that. And she mentioned this with the volunteers that came here, the 3 waves of volunteers. A lot of us, came in from various star systems to help. Mother Earth had sent out the call, and many of us responded, and here we are. But yet a lot of people feel like, the density is so heavy and thick here. It's hard to navigate around. It's not anything close to the loving atmosphere we're most familiar with. It's basically the antithesis of it. And here we are, trying to do our best to navigate through this experience. Let's see what people are saying on YouTube. Andy says meditation is usually best, but it all depends. Number 18, feeling you are going insane or must be developing a mental illness of some sort. You are rapidly experiencing several dimensions and greatly opening. Much is available to you now. You are just not used to it. Your awareness has been heightened and your barriers are gone. This will pass and you will eventually feel very at home, like you have never felt before, and home is here now. Well, fortunately, I'm a child and family therapist for at-risk youth. Well, that's what I was before I started doing this. Actually, when I was a child and family therapist, I did In5D as a hobby and it just took off, and I stopped being a child and family therapist, and here I am. So I've seen a lot of mental illness, and honestly, I've talked to a lot of people in my field, a lot of people in the psychological field, psychology field of psychology, actually do understand. And I'm sure that, Carrie Ann could probably attest, from a nurse's perspective, there's a lot of people that get what we're talking about, and you can be open to people, especially in this sector of the medical field, about things that are more metaphysical. And of course, you have to draw the line, between bipolar disorder and, multiple personality disorders and stuff like that. But there's a reason for everything coming up and through. And perhaps, for example, a multiple personality disorder, maybe that's just the bleeding of timelines coming together. Maybe that's a timeline from 5 lifetimes ago that's coming through. You have to look at things differently. It's kind of like on the article I wrote about the top 40 dream symbols. When you do a dream analysis, the dream analysis has changed from what it was and what it is right now. Dream analysis, for example, right now, what it was, if you saw like a ladder in your dream, it would say, people would say, oh, you're going through a promotion. Something is going to happen where you're going to get a raise, or you're ascending up the ladder. But now that's more what it is. Ascending. You're ascending up the ladder. What does a ladder look like? It looks like strands of DNA. So it's also representative of perhaps a DNA upgrade. So you have to have these new definitions and terminologies that come in. What are people thinking in Zoom here? Anyone want to chime in? I'm going to unmute you guys. You are all unmuted. Anyone feeling like you're going insane, developing mental illness? But you can attest to that, right? The people in the medical field, having a different understanding of what's going on with Ascension, basically. And there's almost like two different definitions of what's going on. You can't really speak your mind completely in the medical field without being ostracized. Is that not correct?
I think, well, as I understand it, that there's such limitations, you know. I wouldn't walk in, like I said, I don't have a draconian even health card anymore, but there's such limitations, you know, in what they do present or have available to the general population, which is not in their top interest, we'll say. One of the things I did want to mention, though, there's something that Patty Broussard, who was the head of the Micmac tribes, gave me. It was something called Nushador in India. You can get it on eBay, or it's called Salmac or salty licorice, but it was a missing mineral that they took out of the organic foods. In fact, they banned it in Canada here. Health Canada confiscated my supply for a year until I got it back. But it puts in the people that are bipolar or feel like they're in this, you know, tug of war or whatever. It puts back the third strand of DNA.
What was that called?
It's called, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Salmac or Salmaki. But you got to be very careful. So I found a clean source called Nushador on eBay.
Oh,
And
somebody just wrote that in the text.
Yeah, I put them on both
in chat. Okay.
Yeah, really, really important, because what it does is it's really is a necessary, essential mineral that has really been bred out of even the organic foods that start with the number 9 on their sticker, which I find most of my clients don't know that. So even trying to teach them clean foods, but the Salmac is very important. So it binds with the phosphorus, puts back the third strand of DNA. So it kind of makes you agenda 21 proof, because that's your 21st chromosome. Most people don't realize. They think it's a nefarious thing, but it's really an attack on the 21st chromosome. And this puts it back. So it's kind of like solidifying either. So instead of people feeling like they're fighting or they can't move or whatever, it's an Ascension mineral. So I wanted to bring it to your attention because it's very, very easy to obtain and no problems now on Amazon or eBay.
I've heard about that the 21st chromosome
Yeah,
and how it's attached to vaccinations and
exactly.
some of the ingredients in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I appreciate
That's in that yellow spectrum, like in the solar plexus. So it's like getting beyond, like off the earth. It's like an interdimensional mineral. So if you don't have it, you ain't moving too far.
Wow.
So I'll share that with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move on here to our next one. As soon as I can get the screen shared. And anxiety and panic. Some of these seem to be slightly overlapping with one another, and that's fine. Your ego is losing much of itself and is afraid. Your system is also on overload. Things are happening to you that you may not understand. You're also losing behavior patterns of a lower vibration that you developed for survival in 3D. This may make you feel vulnerable and powerless. These patterns and behaviors you are losing are not needed in the higher realms. This will pass, and you will eventually feel so much love, safety, and unity. Just wait. So I'm just curious how people are feeling with anxiety and panic. And I'm wondering perhaps if that has something to do with the cleansing of yourself and purging of current and past life emotions, stuff that you may not, once again, understand that's coming up, causing anxiety, because there's all of a sudden something from a past life that comes out and comes to the surface and basically erupts like a zit, you know, and people are trying to find ways to transmute these energies. And if you're not understanding what's going on and you're not unable to release some of these energies, it can be confusing for a lot of people. And that kind of ties in with depression, number 20. The outer world may not be in alignment with the new higher vibrational you. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel so good out there. You are releasing lower, darker energies, and you are seeing through them. Hang in there. Okay, number 21. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. Actually, maybe not all people, but a lot. I know there are people that don't have any dreams at all, But number 21, vivid, wild, and sometimes violent dreams. You are releasing many, many lifetimes of lower vibrational energy. Many are now reporting that they are experiencing beautiful dreams. Your dream state will eventually improve and you will enjoy it again. Some experience this releasing while awake. My mother commented one day that she believed I was having nightmares in the daytime. So I'm curious about the vivid dreams. It seems like since my awakening, my dreams have been vivid. And I can tell you that once you do your work, once you eliminate as much fear as you can, I think I'd have a hard time saying that there's anyone outside of perhaps a Buddhist monk that has eliminated all fear. Everyone's got some, even if it's minute, some kind of fear about something. But if you can release most of it, you'll find that your dreams become prophetic because there's nothing left for the psyche to work on while you're dreaming. One of the most fascinating classes I had in college was the psychology of sleep and dreams, which was one of the reasons why I wrote the top 40 spiritual metaphysical dream symbols or something along that line. I don't remember the title of the article, but if you just type in top 40 dream, you'll find the article on In5D. A lot of people's dreams are becoming more vivid as well. I did an article on that as well. Are your dreams becoming more vivid on In5D? And the response was overwhelmingly yes. So let's take a peek on. Okay. Well, for some reason, I'm frozen up on YouTube. Oh, there it goes. Never mind. Yeah. And Sylvia's saying, thanks, Greg. Wow, I am not alone in this process. Really needed this. Thank you, dear friend. You keep us connected. And that's, yeah, you're welcome, Sylvia. Thank you for joining us. We are all family. And I see, okay, I see you, Karen. You're up there on on YouTube as well. You joined us on YouTube. Thank you. And yeah, you can share those links on there as well. I did share the first 2 links that you put up there on YouTube. Yes. So, okay. I've got 2 mouses or mice next to me. I'm getting them confused with one another. Number 22, night sweats and hot flashes. That's one thing. This is actually one of I'll read what it says first. Your body is heating up as it burns off residue. Now, this is one of the things that I listed in the 30 signs if you're wired differently. And surprisingly, I didn't expect a lot of people to have this. Typically, when you sleep, your body temperature goes down, but not for some of us. Our body temperature goes up. And it's been that way with me for a while. I find oftentimes I'll sweat in my sleep. My body temperature does go up. And I also made a post about 1.5 years ago about asking people to take their body temperature in the daytime. Rarely does my body temperature ever read 98.6. Usually it's like 97 point something. It's usually below normal. And surprisingly, I had a lot of people put that on there too. When I asked people on Facebook, they would actually, because I took a picture of my thermometer and put it on there, and they showed pictures of their thermometer on there as well. And there was a lot of people whose body temperatures were below normal and who also sweated at night. So I just found that correlation very interesting. Okay, does that, I'm going to unmute everybody in Zoom. Does anyone want to chime in?
I'm definitely dealing with the hot flashes and night sweats.
Mary? Was that Mary or Marnie?
Marnie.
Okay, I saw Mary light up over there, but you lit up as well. So you're dealing with that. Do you think
Yeah.
is that hormonal or is that?
It could be. Well, I know I've been in menopause for like 10 years. But then I
Wow.
also started paying attention to like the Schumann and what that was doing. And every
Mhm.
time it seemed to spike seemed to be when I was getting them.
Isn't that interesting? It's great that
Yeah.
you're paying attention to that. Because that's what we're doing. We're making these correlations. You know, when I first started hearing the high pitched frequencies, I never thought about, especially as being a musician, a guitarist, about correlating them to specific notes and chakras and planets and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, this is what we're doing. And this is why it's so important that we have these conversations, because when you say something like that, other people are going to relate to it and might be able to take it a little bit further. You know, so
Yeah.
if you're seeing these correlations of, you know, hot flashes that are going on with you in your life, other people, I think, are probably going to hear the same thing. Well, ladies, I'm sure. I don't know about men.
Yeah. Not fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot too with the core element when you want to go into survival, everything comes away from the, you know, the extended appendages. And so a lot of people are getting that cooling unless there is a hormonal imbalance. Then we'll see women going like, you know, perimenopausal. And really women, even as far as I'm discerning, below 70 or 80 years old are and shouldn't be having menopause symptoms. That's usually due to heavy metal intoxication.
Oh, I thought you
And
meant
not-
heavy metal. Not that heavy metal. AC/DC, Van
time for
Halen.
time for the
Yeah.
activated charcoal. But we've seen a lot
Yeah.
of women get their periods back after, you know, 6 months, 2 years, or 3. So
Let me ask you about this. What about like cold hands and cold feet?
mhm. Again, that's the core element, right? You know, when we are in shock or something's going wrong, that's why we get cold hands and feet, noses, right? Because it's coming away from the core, the appendages, like
Gotcha.
the most distal. So you're trying to keep everything preserved. That's why people that are very toxic, when you mentioned about the weight, right? The toxins store in the fat cells. So I can see people that are like totally overweight that are so malnourished, they're like a biafran. And on the same thing, you can get people that are so parasitically overrun that they look underweight. So that's why the detox or the cleansing is the key, you know, in this case. So yeah, the temperature is variable, also depending where you are in the latitude, longitude, and the timeline's being adjusted right now. So we want to get everyone in there, you know.
What about fasting as well? You know, you
It-
said, you know,
yeah.
detoxing. That's part of the detox process for some people is doing like, well, would you recommend like intermittent fasting, or what type of fasting would you recommend?
Well, I'm hardcore. I can go breatharian and solarian and go for weeks or a month without eating and drinking, which I have. You know, that's also people that go into stuff and do urine therapy, like Jasmuheen or yogis. We will do that. Jericho Genesis Sunfire, Ramior. Those are really well known. You know, David Wolf was brought in. There's a lot of those people that are breatharian, solarians, or what am I say, living on light or love prana. Intermittent fasting, though, is, I think, an excellent idea for people to do it. And what I do with my clients is if they don't want to do juicing, is to get them at least on liquids like Master Cleanser or the activated charcoal. And you can still do that. Like, have that as 2/3 of your day. Or what we'll do is, you know, start with like, you know, half a day. I mean, how many people go to work, Greg, on their coffee and their whatever else, don't eat all day till they come home, and then they purge at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely fasting is part of it, but you know, it's the same thing. If you're used to eating animals, we try and get people more into a plant-based and getting more into fruitarian, because the higher the things are off, like the most nutritious things are from the trees. That's why chocolate's a huge thing, raw cacao, you know, coconut, lemon, lime, those are all part of your cleansing foods, high in serotonin or sesquiterpenes, right?
You know, if I do eat meat, but if if I had to butcher my own meat, I couldn't do it. I would be a fruitarian because I'm not big on vegetables, but I love fruit.
You know,
Absolutely.
it depends on the individual. I just spent like a couple weeks in Calgary with people. She goes, I'm not eating, but she was like, seriously, 100 and some pounds overweight. She couldn't get out of the chair, but after 2 weeks with me in the kitchen, taking over as the raw food chef, and doing the oils and the biomats and all that thing we did and steams, she went for the first time in years to a store. I had her out 5 hours. And then with it, instead of those little electric scooters, these older women have, she walked all day because the energy was there.
Wow.
And she was starting to reversing. And we do know the inflammation process comes from animals. And even up here, all the Cree and all the tribes have noticed, even the people butchering, they're full of tumors, they're full of radiation. So the other thing too, if they want to avoid the harvest zone, you smell like a food to the Dracos, you could be harvested pretty easy. If you look like a tree, smell like a tree, you're useless to them. Anyone that's Rh positive, you're useless to them. They can't even see you. We're out of their frequency range because animals have a low density. They're in the under 40, 50, 60 hertz. That's where all the cancer hangs out. That's where death begins, is in the 40, 50, 30 hertz. So if you're not in that range, you're not harvestable, and you're not going to be susceptible to those cancers and stuff at 46 hertz when you're sitting there looking like a spruce tree and a lemon tree at, 400 or 500 hertz. So
No,
part of it's that.
Dolores Cannon recommended, she said, if you're going to eat meat, preferably not red meat, and not pork either. But
It's part human.
If you're going to eat meat, she recommended chicken, poultry.
With what we know that's put into the food system now through vaccines, nanotechnology, and what we're seeing with the adrenochrome harvesting and what you call kuru, which is KURU, take a look at it.
Yeah.
People need to know what's really in the food system. There is no way to kill anything or have something humanely put down because of the food system contamination and the water contamination now. So it's just a matter of, I think, being a genius, right? Getting back to our original genes. And a lot of people, like I said, we had UFOs and ETs. We don't call them UFOs, but we had a real intergalactic group in society here at one point, and it's like coming back to that. So we're not in that, survival flight. We can live on aquaponics quite easily. Replicators will be coming. That's kind of what I'm doing here with the biofeedback with the genius. I have a replicator, space program, Tesla coil, to replicate the food or the herbs into the water.
Well, we'll also have the med beds then too.
Well, Randy Kramer's a friend of mine. Yeah, they're in flow, but I mean, this has taken a long time. That's what Ryan Williams, myself, Patty Brassard are all part of, by the way, the Basis project.
See, all you need is one and a replicator. Right?
We're hoping we need to replicate ourselves and get our stem cells in there. And that's what we're trying to do, is get everyone out of the harvest zone and into safe zones because of the pole shift. And the Cascadia is in full swing right now. And I just know someone in the chat room just mentioned something about the Rh negative. There is a great set of talks we did at Project Ascension. We weren't ascending, we're Ascension. So yours is the Ascension group, I'm the Ascension group. But we did a lot of stuff on what Rh actually was in the genetics and the 40, 50 types of blood types that were genetically modified in military labs. So if they want, they can have a 2-hour dissertation of us talking there. But there's a huge difference in that.
I just heard that Rh negatives can't be cloned.
Oh, they have cloning. In fact, a lot of them are part of the clones. Less than 20-30% right now are human viable or original clans and tribes, and probably out of that 8% are only viable right now.
I forgot where I heard that. It might have been on Sam's show. It might have been Kent.
Well, I have it directly from Patty Brassard and the stats directly. So, as opposed to getting.
That's why I said
George.
I just heard. I don't know if it's truth myself. That's all I heard.
We took the stats. Patty took the stats of the Human Genome Project when she cracked into it. So I've actually seen where they've cloned up to 108 replications of some individual. Okay, so can be done.
My thing is, according to Greg Braden's research, we only have 23 of the, or 22 of the 64 codons in our DNA
turned on.
And perhaps it is possible that some are not beneficial to us and are, but to me, I have a meditation on my In5D YouTube channel
Mhm.
that goes along the lines of all of the beneficial codons in my RNA and DNA are now activated. I can do anything. I promise that I'll only use these new abilities in the best interests of humanity. And something along that line. It goes on. It's a mantra that repeats over and over. I actually fall asleep at night listening to that. And I play it on this one looping program that I have. So it plays all night. And when I'm sleeping, it's going in and entering my head. It's this mantra about turning on all the codons in my DNA. Because I think that whoever is able to figure out this mystery of these codons that are shut off
Mhm.
will be able to do anything. I'll be able to lay my hands on the earth, hook my higher self up to every other higher self on the planet, and instantly heal the world. I could heal every water supply instantaneously. You know, stuff like that. It's crazy, but
I think that's so cool. That is actually what Patty Broussard talked about. That when we did crack in, I may be positive myself, which makes me, that's why I'm the clan and the tribe mother, the head matriarch. But it is through the mitochondrial DNA and the lineage that this is achieved. And like there are a lot of people too, like when the guys mentioned RH null, we actually have a RH area 51.
oh wow.
You know, there are so many things in you know, these alien stuff, a lot of it because of the genetic modifications to the DNA from being, instead of 48 chromosomes down to 46, or, you know, playing with the third strand. That's why I want people to get the third strands back, because then we can help repair the other strands because they've been fractured. And this is part of why the higher frequencies are going. So Gaia and some of the special forces now are going in to put these in to do the repairs for people, you know, that have been RH negative or modified too.
We're going to have to
Depending
talk
on the
about
type.
this. We're definitely going to have to talk about this when I get you back on, because
Cool.
this is like an area that I'm so absolutely fascinated by.
Me too.
DNA. Heck yeah. But I do have to move on because it is getting late. And I think I got like, I think I only put down 3 hours only for the chat. And we got like 26 minutes to finish this. So I'm going to move on to everything else that's going on here. So this is, what a great conversation. I hope you guys are all enjoying this. And I do encourage people that are in the Zoom to jump in and join in on the chat. So we just covered number 22, night sweats and hot flashes. 23, your plans suddenly change in midstream and go in a completely different direction. Your soul is balancing out your energy. It usually feels great in this new direction, as your soul knows more than you do. It is breaking your rut choices and vibration. See, on this one, I'm that kind of person who just, I don't have a schedule for anything. I just wing it. You know, I prefer to just, my mother, for example, okay, she's a Virgo. She's a type A personality. She's controlling at times. She has, I call her the agenda queen, because she has everything listed and planned out right down to the T. I'm not that way, never have been. I just kind of like winging it. So this is one area that I probably that don't experience. I don't know about anybody else, but as for your plans suddenly change in midstream, nope, not for me. So, okay, moving on. Number 24, you have created a situation that seems like your worst nightmare with many worst nightmare aspects to it. Well, for me, that could be my heart attack that I had. That was horrible, horrible, horrible thing to go through, but I overcame it. All right, your soul is guiding you into stretching into aspects of yourself where you were lacking, or into toning down aspects where you had an overabundance. Your energy is just balancing itself. Finding your way to peace through this situation is the test you have to set up for yourself. This is your journey, and your soul would not have set it up for you if you weren't ready. You're the one who finds your way out, and you will. Looking back, you will have gratitude for the experience and be a different person. So that was our final one out of the 24 Ascension symptoms. Now, I had a few other things that I wanted to go over here too, but we're not going to be able to get to those because there's one other thing that I wanted to get to that's really important, and that's the cures for the Ascension symptoms. Now, Karen Ann just mentioned a few of those throughout our conversation, various supplements and grounding, and and that's the first one that's on in this article by Michelle Walling, the importance of grounding. And there's so many articles on In5D. Just type in grounding in the search box right here, and you'll find a ton of it. Look up anything on there. You'll find, whatever it is you're looking for on In5D. So Ascension symptoms and remedies, symptoms, Ascension flu. She has the remedies, just basically rest, cold lemon spring water, Bach flower remedies, which is going into the essential oils that we were just talking about earlier. This is a bath that she recommends, amongst other things, supplementing your diet with fortifying enzymes will assist your body with flush, fruits and raw veggies. Take a bath with a half cup of Himalayan salt and a half cup of baking soda at least once a day. Rinse off with a quick shower afterwards. The salt and soda can help draw out the toxins, and the salt will help replenish the salt that is lost through fever. Add essential oils to the bath to boost your immune system. Here's another symptom of chronic headaches and or tingling of the scalp. As with all your chakras, there could be a block of energy flow causing the inability of expansion of the chakra. Headaches that encompass the whole head can be attributed to the crown chakra, and the headaches between the eyes that seem to go all the way through to the back of the head, and that can be attributed to the third eye and or pineal gland activation. Ask your spirit guides and angels to help regulate the amount of energy you are receiving in order to alleviate the pain. And because this is a rather long article, it's fantastic. And I'm going to leave a link in the more info section of the video on YouTube. But what I want to do is just get back real quick to Zoom. And as I mentioned, if you want to look it up right now, it's called The Best Cures for Ascension Symptoms. And you can just search it for it right here on, look up anything on In5D. So, is there anything you'd like to close with, Karen Ann? Let me unmute. I'm sorry. There we go. Sorry about that.
Wow, what would I like to end it? I just want to thank you and for it's like another soul tribe. I've been following you for so many years, and we've been on Facebook for so many years, but finally got a face-to-face. I think it's really important for people to get back and do the grounding and the earthing and simple things. It really is about water and electrical magnetics. So that's why I'm so much into doing this, steams.
Yes.
I really think this is important. I really encourage people, men and women, to look at this steamychick.com. For men, like I said, this has been the most grounding thing. It's like becoming the tree. When you sit on a wood box and you got the herbs coming in, they distill right into the blood system. I've seen people just open up, like the brain fog's gone, seal down everything. Like, just amazing stuff. So I really want to encourage people. I know it sounds out of the box, but it's been one of the most, exciting thing. And if you got a phone, this Genius biofeedback is amazing, to look at. I mean, it's like, it's what you are. It resets your electrical magnetic field. And that's the fifth element of medicine. It's the plasma, which goes into your blood. So radionics is an amazing thing they know about Rife, scalar wave.
Rife.
It's our Day of Atonement.
Yes. Is that you speaking, Mary? Rife?
That's me speaking.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Well, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. I have a friend who's really into Rife, and so He sends me a lot of Rife stuff.
Mhm.
And hang on, we're just gonna mute that
Oops,
one
I
right
got
there.
messed up.
That wasn't you. That was
No.
somebody else.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
trying.
good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Oh, cool.
definitely. Yep.
Greg, I've been with you since the beginning, man. Since you first started broadcasting.
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah, long time. Since
Yeah.
2012 for sure. So thank you for all your work.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for being part of our In5D
Oh
family. And
man, I'm
this is
so happy to see
this
you.
this is what I want to do is create more of a community and family.
Oh yeah, we
And
need
just
to be together. Everybody have
it's
to
important.
stand. Yep.
And as we were mentioning earlier, it's important for people to get their thoughts out there because we're all putting these pieces of the puzzle together, and it's a group effort. Not one person has all the answers. None of us do, but we can get closer to some of these answers by joining our minds together.
I know. You and I both saw the rainbow ball at the same time. And at one time I emailed you and we both had seen the rainbow ball that had all the faces in it.
Mhm.
And it was outside.
Mhm.
And I think you were still with Michelle at that time or whatever. And that's how long I've been with you, since we saw the initial rainbow
Yeah,
faces. That is
yeah,
so cool. I just feel so connected to you. And we need to stick together as a family, everybody that is an experiencer. So awesome.
definitely. Well, I plan on doing this more often,
Oh, I hope so.
and bringing on guests and just doing random topics as well. And
Oh, so
it's going to be
worth it.
fun. Yeah. And
Great.
it's great that we've been able to get so many people, joining us on YouTube right now, as well as on Zoom.
Oh, this is so great. Thank you.
Thank you. So, well, I guess I'm going to leave it off at that. I want to thank everybody for joining us here on Zoom. And I encourage people to continue to come here on Zoom because you'll still be able to go onto YouTube and watch everything there as well. But if you want to, get your voice heard, and I'll definitely bring you on, and you can
Cool.
join in on the conversation.
Great.
So
I have a lot of experience, so it'll be
good.
enlightening.
Excellent. So until the next time, this is Greg from
Awesome.
In5D.com. I want to encourage people to join me on New Year's Eve.
Cool.
We're going to be doing a New Year's Eve from 7
good.
p.m. Eastern
Good.
until probably
2020 into the future.
at least
That's
3 hours.
perfect vision. All
And
right.
We're going to be talking about the future predictions, and I've got some guests that will be coming on. It's going to be fun.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So until the next time, I'm sending everybody unconditional love and light. So until the next time, this is Greg from In5D. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste.